This is the brand new OnePlus 15. It has a 165Hz screen, a massive 7300 mAh battery, and the most powerful chipset you can get in the world of Android today, all for the low price of just $899. And you know what? You should probably skip it. I know, I sound crazy, but hear me out because the OnePlus 13 might be the better buy right now. So typically, with a new smartphone launch, companies try to make it ever so slightly better than before. A spec bump here, a design change there, all to make this year's phone more enticing than last year's. Sometimes companies do the bare minimum, barely change anything. Samsung. Sorry. Rarely, though, do we see companies actually make a phone less good. And there are more than a few instances of that happening with the OnePlus 15. Before I get into examples of that though, I want to talk about something that I think is much better this year, which is the design. I really liked the look and feel of the OnePlus 13, but the OnePlus 15 is better, in my opinion. First, I'm a total sucker for flat design, and the OnePlus 15 is flat all around. Perfectly flat sides, a flat back, and a perfectly flat display. This is a step up over the OnePlus 13, which tried to combine flatness and curviness in ways that worked some of the time, but not all the time. The metal rails on the sandstorm color that OnePlus sent me had this awesome ceramic-esque feel to them that OnePlus calls micro-arc oxidation, which is just meaningless jargon, but it does make things feel really nice. I feel like the beige isn't really great, but there's a completely black version called Infinite Black that has the same finish but looks incredible. I highly suggest opting for that one if you do decide to grab this. The camera module has undergone significant changes this year, and I prefer this design to the dinner plate look of the OnePlus 13. It's smaller, less obtrusive, and fits in with the overall aesthetic just a bit better. Granted, this is all subjective, but I really enjoy the look and feel of the OnePlus 15, more so than the OnePlus 13. Really though, that's kind of where my unabashed praise for this phone ends. Everything else about this phone fits into one of three categories. It's slightly better than the OnePlus 13, but only on paper. It's better in some ways, but worse in others. Or, in some extreme cases, it's actually just flat out worse than the OnePlus 13. So one thing that fits into the first category is the battery. The silicon carbon cell inside the OnePlus 15 has 7300 mAh of energy, which is about 21% more than the 6000 mAh we saw in the OnePlus 13. On paper, this is a big jump, no question. However, in real life usage, it didn't change much for me. It's still a battery beast and can easily get me through a full day, no matter what I did with it, and with a ton of juice left over. I bet if you used it lightly, you could easily get through 2 full days without a charge. But really, how long do I need my phone's battery to last? I know that sounds like a dumb question, and of course, we want our phones to last as long as possible, but we're always going to need to put it on a charger eventually. If you can already make it through 2 days, do you really need more than that? To be clear, I'm not complaining at all about this. I'm just pointing out that the OnePlus 15's larger battery didn't change how I used it when compared to the OnePlus 13. I used both phones without worrying at all about battery life, which is awesome. The numbers on the spec sheet didn't change that. The same thing goes for charging. Both phones have the same 80-watt charging speed here in the US, and both come with an appropriate charger and cable in the box to see those speeds, which is incredible. OnePlus deserves a ton of praise for sticking with the charger in the box, especially one that delivers such fast speeds. Here in the US, there's simply nothing that can compete with this. Wireless charging is also the same at 50 watts, assuming you use a proprietary charger. But yeah, as good as these stats are, in both cases, this was the exact same experience I had before. If OnePlus had put Qi 2 magnets on the back to compete with Pixel Snap and MagSafe, then there would be a big convenience upgrade. But nope, you'll need to get a case if you want magnets. So yeah, even with a nice, very welcome battery upgrade, I didn't really feel the difference in this category. The battery lasts a ridiculously long time and charges at a ridiculously fast rate, just like with the OnePlus 13. So in the second category, we have things that are better in some ways but worse in others. Unfortunately, this includes the chipset, which is the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. This is the very first phone to land in the United States with this chip inside, and I gotta say, I'm not super impressed. It's definitely faster, but not as fast as Qualcomm claimed it to be. If you're a mobile gamer, you're going to see better sustained performance during long gaming sessions, but you're not going to see much improvement for shorter sessions. I'll talk more about gaming in a bit, but the big issue with the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 is heat. This bad boy gets hot. In fact, it gets so hot that I can't show you the results of a standard benchmark we run, which is the 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme Stress Test. This measures the phone at peak load for 20 runs, and the OnePlus 15 overheats at the 17th run and shuts down the benchmark. At that point, the phone was literally too hot to hold in my hand. Now, before you say that this must have been an isolated incident, Android Authority actually has two OnePlus 15 units, and the other one did the exact same thing. We reached out to OnePlus about this, and it told us that the phone is designed to run within normal thermal limits in everyday use, which includes heavy-duty gaming. To be clear, I agree with that. Most people watching this will never game as long and as hard as they would need to for the phone to overheat and shut down. But almost every other phone we've put through the Wildlife Extreme Stress Test has completed the full 20 runs without overheating. So it's clear that OnePlus needs to drastically reduce the thermals with the OnePlus 15. I think what's happened here is that OnePlus and Qualcomm are so desperate to make the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 seem much better than last year's model that they're pushing the heat higher and higher to compensate. So yeah, is the processor better in the OnePlus 15? Yeah, it is. But to make it better, it's going to run much hotter, which isn't a good trade-off in my opinion. So, one step forward, one step back. Another thing that fits this category is the display. I want to preface this by saying that I absolutely love this display. The bezels are so slim this year, and the flat panel is simply gorgeous to look at. But yeah, with the nifty upgrades this year, there is a heavy downgrade, which is the removal of 2K resolution. The OnePlus 13 was capable of 2K at 120Hz, which was pretty incredible. With the OnePlus 15, the company wanted to increase the refresh rate to 165Hz. To do that, it says that it needed to drop the resolution. So, now the phone maxes out at 1.5K, but can hit a peak of 165Hz in certain mobile titles. I don't know about you, but this isn't a great trade. Who really benefits from this? Mobile gamers might like the fact that they can see that higher refresh rate, but losing resolution is a tough pill to swallow for everyone. The 2K display on the OnePlus 13 was one of its big selling points, so to remove that seems backwards to me. But gamers appear to be who OnePlus is courting with this phone. It's made a big deal about the higher touch sampling rate, which is thanks to a dedicated chip just for that purpose. It's also pushing a new feature that locks certain games to 120 frames per second with almost no dips below that rate. So yeah, gamers will really like that, but normal people will just see that the old phone had 2K and this new one doesn't, which is disappointing. So now we're at the final category, which is things that are actually worse this year when compared to the OnePlus 13. And the biggest offender here is the camera hardware. The main lens is a downgrade with a narrow aperture, so it will perform worse in low light situations. The sensor underneath is smaller too. Meanwhile, the sensor underneath the ultra-wide is also smaller and the lens has a narrower field of view. Meanwhile, the telephoto is significantly worse than what we saw on the OnePlus 13, with a much smaller sensor and a narrower aperture. Seriously, the telephoto shots are just abysmal compared to the OnePlus 13. Simply put, any photos you take with the rear hardware on the OnePlus 15 are going to be underwhelming compared to what you could get with the OnePlus 13. For example, since the telephoto camera has much weaker hardware, it needs to turn to AI-based sharpening much sooner than the OnePlus 13 did, resulting in mushy, artificial-looking shots once you get past 7x or so. On top of this, OnePlus ended its long-standing partnership with Hasselblad, so now it's using its own camera engine it calls the Detail Max engine. This is fine, but Hasselblad's was definitely better. The Detail Max engine is just too flat, leaving photos looking boring and lifeless. The one saving grace here is that OnePlus offers a bunch of filters you can use which do bring some character to your shots. But all you're really doing here is adding Instagram style filters to everything you take, which is not ideal. But yeah, when you combine the lower quality Detail Max engine with the hardware downgrades across the board, it's just no contest. the OnePlus 13 is going to be better in all scenarios. I don't know about you, but I'm so disappointed by this because OnePlus made such strides with the OnePlus 13. For the record, the OnePlus 13 was the first OnePlus phone ever that Android Authority gave a full 5-star review to. It is literally one of the best phones we've ever used and was, personally, my second favorite phone of the year, right behind the Pixel 9 Pro. To see that success and then toss it away like this is just really disheartening. The one exception to this fiasco is the selfie camera. OnePlus did upgrade that one. It has a slightly better sensor and now supports autofocus. This is nice, for sure, but does it make up for all the rear camera downgrades? Unless you're a person who takes a lot of selfies, I would say no. The bottom line here is that the OnePlus 15 is undoubtedly better than the OnePlus 13 in certain ways, but it's also worse in multiple very important ways. Given that the OnePlus 13 is certainly going to come down in price now that the OnePlus 15 is available, it's hard for me to tell people to buy the OnePlus 15. The OnePlus 13 is going to be cheaper with a much better camera, a processor that's much better for thermals, the same software, basically the same RAM and storage options, and it's going to have a display with 2K resolution. Really, the only thing that the OnePlus 15 does unequivocally better is have more battery life. But even then, the battery life of the OnePlus 13 was already exceptional. Oh, and one more thing. You may have noticed that the alert slider is gone. I don't know about you, but I think that that was a defining aspect of OnePlus phones. I know this new customizable button can technically do more, like launch apps, integrate with PlusMind AI or whatever, but the alert slider was a OnePlus staple. The OnePlus 13 still has it though, so yeah, the OnePlus 13 is looking pretty good right now. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you going to grab the OnePlus 15? Or are you going to heed my advice and grab a discounted OnePlus 13 instead? If you want to know even more about the phone, check out the written review at Android Authority, which has more insights on the phones from my friend Ryan Haynes. The link for that is in the description. See you all later.